We live in a world where, speed and convenience are everything. They're the ultimate currency for productivity.
Absolutely.
If you need to make a to-do list or you have this great idea or you're planning your goals, what's the first thing you do?
You pull out your phone.
You pull out the phone, open the laptop, you just start typing. It's automatic.
And we all operate under this very modern assumption that the fastest way to get something down must be the most effective way.
Right. Speed equals results.
Yeah, and that's the very assumption that the sources we've looked at today they completely challenge it, fundamentally.
So today we're launching into a deep dive on the science of commitment, and it's prompted by a question that feels almost old-fashioned.
It is surprisingly analog, isn't it? The question is,
Right.
what actually happens, in your brain when you decide to swap that screen for just a simple sheet of paper?
And a pen. This deep dive feels kind of revolutionary, but the tool we're talking about is ancient.
We're not talking about some new app.
No new app, no cutting-edge AI. We are just exploring the hidden power of handwriting.
The hidden cognitive power, yeah.
So our mission today is to figure out the science. Why is this physical action supposedly such a game changer for actually following through on things?
What is the real measurable difference between tapping on glass and the movement of a pen on paper?
And the sources we have suggest that difference isn't just measurable, it's staggering.
It really is. This moves it way beyond just, a preference for old school tools. This is about neurological programming.
Okay, so let's unpack this.
Yep.
Because the core finding, the big aha moment from all this research, it feels almost too simple to be true.
It does.
Our source material basically says that if you handwrite your goals, instead of typing them, you drastically increase your chances of achieving them.
And when we say drastically, we really mean it. The research looked at a direct comparison between groups of people.
That's
They had them list their weekly objectives. One group did what we all do, typed a quick list on their phone.
The default.
The default. The other group had to commit their goals to paper. Just a pen. Nothing fancy.
And this is where the statistic comes in, the chess.
Yeah.
It elevates this from an interesting idea to something essential.
Yeah.
The key finding is a claim that writing your goals by hand is linked to raising the probability of achieving them by a massive margin.
Up to 70%.
70.
70. Just think about that number for a second.
Yeah.
If you're struggling with a goal, just changing the medium, how you record it, could give you a 70% advantage.
That is enormous.
It is. It suggests we're not just looking at some minor psychological boost here. This is like a complete rerouting of how the brain engages with the goal.
Okay, 70% is.
Yeah.
It's a huge number. And you have to be a little skeptical, right?
Of course. You have to challenge it.
Did the sources account for things like, the novelty of it? Maybe people who chose to write were just more diligent to begin with.
That's an excellent point, and it's why the research goes deeper into the mechanism, not just the correlation. The conclusion isn't based on who chose what. It's based on the cognitive activity that the act itself generates. The 70% is the outcome of a process that typing just help. It fails to replicate.
So what you're saying is that the speed of typing is actually its biggest weakness.
Cognitively, yes. Think about it. When you type, your fingers are doing the same few movements over and over.
Right. A feels the same as B, pretty much.
Yeah,
The word goal and the word give up are just sequences of taps.
exactly. It's all just passive muscle memory. And that leads to a very low cognitive load. The brain basically says, I've seen this before, no need to waste resources.
It treats the information as temporary, transactional.
Right. But when you write by hand, every single letter is a tiny, unique drawing.
You're forming it from scratch.
You're using a whole network in the brain motor cortex for the movement, spatial reasoning for where it goes on the page, the visual cortex to confirm the shape.
And this is what the sources mean when they say the brain reacts deeper.
Yes. It's a physical activation that demands the brain's resources. The slower, more deliberate nature of writing forces the prefrontal cortex, your planning center, to really focus on the meaning of the word.
Not just the mechanics of producing it.
Precisely.
And that sustained attention, that physical friction of the pen on the paper, that creates something really powerful and immediate.
Yeah.
It creates clarity.
That is the first major outcome. The goals just become clearer. You can't rush your phrasing when you have to manually draw every letter.
It's a built-in speed limit for your thoughts.
Right. And that forces you to be introspective. You cut out the vague language. You figure out what you really mean before you commit the effort. And that clarity alone is a huge boost.
And then once you have that clarity, the second outcome follows naturally, which is commitment.
Yes, because you've spent more energy, real, tangible, cognitive, and physical energy, just forming the goal. So the brain assigns it a higher value.
It's not just a line of text in a digital file somewhere.
It's a physical artifact, something you labored to create.
Which links directly to memory, right? The sources talk about memory encoding.
They really emphasize this. The mind memorizes it more when you write. And this isn't just about repetition, it's multisensory.
What do you mean by that?
Well, when you write, you get the tactile feel of the pen, the kinesthetic input from your muscles, drawing the shapes, the visual of the ink.
You can even hear the pen scratching on the paper.
Exactly. Your brain isn't just seeing the goal, it's feeling it, drawing it, hearing it. It's using every channel available to create a more permanent, accessible memory trace.
It's like building multiple roads to the same destination in your brain.
That's a great way to put it. Handwriting builds a superhighway to that goal in your mind while typing. It builds a dirt path that gets overgrown really fast.
So if we break this down, this cognitive activation that explains the 70% boost,
Oh.
it really stands on three pillars. The first one is what we were just on, memory.
Memory activation, yes. It's the most direct benefit. As we said, forming letters by hand lights up multiple sensory parts of your brain at once.
The more senses involved, the deeper the encoding.
Exactly. When you see that handwritten note later, you don't just recall the words, you subconsciously recall the physical feeling of writing them.
Okay, so that's pillar one. Pillar two is huge in our world today. Focus and concentration.
A massive one. Typing is almost always linked to multitasking.
Oh, yeah. You open a doc to write a goal, and a notification pops up. You switch tabs, you check an email.
But handwriting, it forces you to put the phone down, close the laptop. It creates this little focused bubble of intention.
It's a deliberate, slow process. It minimizes digital distractions because you can't do both at once.
Right. And that sustained attention, that discipline, it strengthens the goal itself.
Okay, so memory, focus.
Yeah.
And the third piece feels like the one that really makes it happen, the idea to action link.
This is the psychological bridge. Handwriting creates a stronger, more direct connection between the thought, the idea of the goal, and the action you need to take.
How does that work?
In the digital world, the idea feels abstract, theoretical. It lives on a server. But the second you exert physical effort to put that thought on paper, your brain registers that a physical output has already started.
It's like the difference between just thinking about going for a run versus actually laying out your running shoes the night before.
That's a perfect analogy. One is just an idea. The other is a physical preparation for a behavior. Handwriting is, in a very real way, preparing the brain for the physical work to come.
So that neurological link is stronger. The goal is already wired into your motivation centers as something that requires doing, not just thinking.
Exactly. Your brain is primed for action.
Which leads us perfectly to this powerful metaphor the sources use to wrap this all up. It's a beautiful way to think about it.
It really is. The analogy is that using a pen is like signing a contract with your brain.
That's so good. It shifts the goal from just a passive thought to an active, internal agreement.
And when you see your own handwriting, it carries a weight that typed Arial or Times New Roman just doesn't have.
Well, yeah. Think about what we sign contracts for. Mortgages, jobs, legal documents. The act of signing is a binding commitment.
And a type note on a screen feels temporary, doesn't it? You can delete it, edit it, it's disposable, it's a passive record.
But a signature, your handwriting, that's a piece of you. It's active. It has a psychological finality to it.
It turns a wish into a contractual obligation with yourself, a commitment sealed with physical effort.
And that really is the ultimate conclusion of this deep dive. Even the simplest written line
Has the power to create the strongest internal commitment. It just cuts through all the noise of modern productivity acts.
And that is the key takeaway for you listening. We spend so much time looking for complex systems and new apps,
Trying to optimize everything.
only to find out that this powerful, scientifically backed shortcut to achieving your goals isn't in new tech, but in a basic tool we've had for centuries.
Knowledge is only valuable when you can apply it, and this is something you can apply right now, immediately.
The difference between a wish and a plan might just be the friction of ink on paper. If you're stuck on a goal, maybe the problem isn't your willpower.
It might just be your medium.
If that simple act of writing transforms a wish into a contract with your mind, you have to ask yourself, what important goals have you just let float around in a digital haze?
It's time to give them the neurological weight that they deserve.
So here's our challenge to you this week. Test the 70% claim for yourself. Pick one major goal. The one you keep procrastinating on.
The big one.
And commit it to paper with a pen. Don't type it. Write it out, detail the steps, and then sign your name at the bottom. Sign your internal contract.
And if the science holds up, you should feel a real shift, a change in your clarity and your commitment almost immediately. Give yourself that 70% edge. The results, as we've seen today, could be astonishing.